Deep breaths. This is like the introduction. I always need to warm up a little bit when I start talking in front of a camera. I did write a script this time. Welcome back from a kitchen in a farmhouse in southwestern Ontario. I am a fan of country music, and it tracks that I'm also a fan of Kacey Musgraves. This past month, she released an album called Deeper Well. I've enjoyed it as well. I listened to it this morning when I went to get groceries and gas. And I like it. It's very calming. It's grown on me since the first time I listened to it. I didn't really like it. Sort of in the same way that like Star-Crossed, it took a couple listens. Yeah, I've realized as I'm getting a little bit older that like new music from artists that I've generally loved takes a little bit longer for me to enjoy. I think Cardinal is my favorite, but again, just listening to it this morning in the car, it sounds a little bit better in my car. I don't know, maybe it was the vibe of the drive because it was quite pretty this morning. So anyway, why is this all relevant? Why am I bringing this up? As somebody who predominantly makes videos about quilts and about myself making the quilts, why am I talking about Kacey Musgraves? Well, if you're a fan of Kacey and you've seen the album Rollout, you'll know that there was a particular quilts related motif design that was part of the visuals. I've established I'm a quilter, I'm a Kacey Musgraves fan, going back to her first couple albums even. I think it's my time to shine as somebody who also quilts a little bit. A lot. I also make quilt coats, and I saw a photo on her Instagram, I think, that she was wearing this sort of quilted item of clothing. I thought, oh, that's coming back in, is it? That's good for me. I started making quilt coats last year, and I made one this year. So that'd be pretty neat if it came back, because then it wouldn't feel like a super obsolete part of an already long-held traditional hobby and art form that is quilting. I'm going to give a little credit where credit is due. I did stumble across this post on Reddit, which I will leave a link to in the description. This is a screenshot. And it was a question about the star block that she's got up there, and people were saying it was either an alteration of an Ohio star block or a Texas star block. There's at least one like-minded individual, shout out to you, for correctly identifying that the block is not a traditional Texas star, but it is in fact a modified version of a classic Ohio star block. Here is a side-by-side of the Deeper Well Ohio star block, and then a classic Ohio star block. And then here is a Texas star, which is a less used star block in comparison to the widely used Ohio star block, according to my limited research and mostly my opinion. Kacey's star appears to be slightly elongated, plus there are the letters DWKM, Deeper Well Kacey Musgraves. I think that's a cute touch. I think that works. I think it's very pretty. I think it is kind of smart to do a nostalgia poll for people who grew up with a lot of quilts in their life. Believe it or not, I don't have that nostalgia. I am the quilter in the family. I do have a grandmother, Oma quilts, but not in the way that a lot of people I know, a lot of people I've met quilt, where they give quilts to their grandkids and family and stuff like that. So I am starting the tradition again. Sometimes it skips a generation. So the purpose of me sharing this is just I thought it was educational. I thought maybe some of y'all would be interested. Either my quilting audience would like to hear a little bit about Kacey, and my Kacey audience would like to hear a little bit about quilting. So this brings me to the next portion of the video, which is a very brief and not at all in-depth tutorial on how to make an Ohio star block. I have stated in the past I am not somebody who you should be following tutorials for, but having given that disclaimer, do what you will. So you're gonna have one color square. This is a 5 1/4 inch. You will need 4 white squares of the same size. I'm using white and red because they are high contrast colors. You can use whatever colors you want. 8 triangles. These are 3 3/4 inch by 3 3/4 inch, and then the long side is 5 1/4. So you can use your 5 1/4 squares and cut them into 4 pieces, or you can use a 3 3/4 square and cut it in half. I used the larger square, so you're going to do that for the red and you're going to do it for the white. You need the same amount of white triangles and red triangles. The way that you're going to construct the block is you will take a white and a red, and then when you get to this point, you can sew these halves together, press, and then you've got a square. And from that square, trim as needed. So then you will take your 4 triangle square blocks that you've created and line them up in rows with your white squares and your red square, with 1 white square in each corner, so top and bottom left, top and bottom right. Then you'll have your red square in the middle, so this is like a 9 square block. You'll sew them into rows, and then you'll sew the rows together, and you'll press. So there you have it. That sounded very upset. No, there you have it. It's an Ohio Star block, yay! And if you want to make a Casey Musgraves version, you can do a little embroidery with the letters, and you can opt for a rectangular approach. Yeah, so this one was just for fun. I hope you enjoyed. I hope to see you in the next video. I've got my eye on something else Deeper Well inspired. There's a lot of imagery. I've been doing a little bit of creative thinking lately about it, and I thought maybe we could see a Deeper Well edition of another quilt jacket. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good time. Live free or die trying.